let's make a quick, cheap, and easy sim pedal. So I wanted to play a Assetto Corsa with an H pattern shifter, but I only have a 2-pedal Thrustmaster setup, and I am way too cheap to go out and buy a T3PA for $110 or more. Now I know it's not strictly necessary to use a clutch with an H pattern shifter, but what fun is that? And I just really like making things. So let's take a look at what I used to make this work. First, you'll need the pedal. I found this one on AliExpress for about $13. You'll also need either an Arduino Pro Micro or Leonardo. I'm using a Pro Micro because that's what I have on hand, but the code and connection should work for either. If you don't mind waiting on shipping from China, you get a Pro Micro for less than $10. If you want one sooner, you can pay a few dollars more on Amazon. To make this project work, you'll also need to download and install the Arduino Joystick Library. You'll also need a few parts that you might have laying around. First, you'll need some kind of wiring. I'll just be using some jumpers for now, but when I do my final assembly, I'll use some longer wiring. You get jumpers like this on Amazon or AliExpress or just about anywhere you get electronic components from. It shouldn't cost more than a few dollars. You can see here that I've put a connector on the pedal. I got these from Amazon for a couple of bucks, but they aren't strictly necessary for this project. Another option would be to solder the wires directly to the board, but again, not strictly necessary. There's really only 3 steps to putting this together. First, figure out which wires do what, hook the wires to the board, and finally, upload the code to the board. Alright, let's get the pedals wiring sorted out. If we go to the AliExpress product page and look at the description, you can see here it says that the red wire is positive 5 volts, the yellow wire is negative, and the green wire is the signal. Now the page doesn't say what's going on inside the pedal, and honestly, it doesn't really matter as long as I can put 5 volts in and get something between 0 and 5 volts out. The first idea I had when trying to figure out how to make this work was to use one of these. A zero delay USB joystick encoder. After some fiddling with the resistors on the board, I was able to make it read analog inputs, but when I plugged it into the computer, it would only read the pedal as an analog stick, and I couldn't assign it to the clutch in the sim, so that idea went out the window. Since that didn't work, I dug through my parts boxes and pulled out my Arduino Pro Micro. This and the Leonardo can be used to create USB devices like game controllers. In order for this to work, the Arduino board has to have the ATmega 32U4 chip on it. So an Uno, a Mega, a Nano, they just aren't going to work. If you look at the Arduino, you'll notice some of the pins have the letter A next to them. That A means the pin is capable of reading an analog input. It doesn't matter which one of those you use, but pick one. I'm using A0. All we have to do is hook up the green signal line to A0. Then we hook up the red line to 5 volts, marked VCC on this board, and the yellow line to ground. Here we are in the Arduino software. The sketch to run this pedal really isn't much more complicated than the blank sketch. In the Tools menu, I've already selected the micro for my board, and I've selected the correct port. Up top, we have joystick.h. Next, we create the joystick object and tell it what features we're going to use. Here, I used one button that I'll wind up not using, and a brake pedal. Next, we go into the setup. We've set our A0 as an input. We begin the joystick. Then we tell the joystick what range we want to operate in. Next is the main loop. Read pin A0, update the brake with that value, and the library handles the rest. If you want to verify that your setup is working, we can modify the sketch with 4 lines of code, serial begin, some formatting to make it nice and pretty on the output, analog read, and new line, and view the output in the serial monitor. So here you can see when I push down on the pedal, the value changes. After the code is uploaded to your board, you should be able to see the Arduino as a joystick or a USB game controller. Here you can see that the computer sees the Arduino Micro as a controller. When we open it up, we can see the single button and the brake created in the sketch. Pressing on the pedal should cause that bar to move back and forth, showing us the pedal is recognized as a controller input. Once you have verified this, you should be able to go into the sim and assign the pedal to the function of your choice. That's how I made a quick, cheap, and easy pedal for my sim racer. I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I'll leave some links to the parts and software I used in the description. Thanks for watching.